Hey everybody, you're listening to the Combo Wombo podcast. I'm Chip. Muck with me as always is the Mr. Gimpy.
Chip, what's going on, brother?
What's happening, dude? We're doing a salute, my guy.
Doing a little salute. You got an energy drink today? Okay.
I got some energy free. I don't know. I went like caffeine free for like 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Now I'm back on all the sauce. I'm doing coffee. I'm doing energy drinks, dude.
Yeah. Is it because caffeine wasn't affecting you at all, or what's the story behind that?
No, dude, it's just it's a drug, dude. That shit works, dude. I was like all tired and shit, all mopey all day without caffeine.
Gotcha.
I think like other people are like, oh, your energy will pick back up. It'll be great, dude. That's fucking hippie bullshit, dude. That did not happen.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel the day is long. It was just dragging, dude. I was like, man, if only there was a drug I could put in my system that's legal that like would, make me more alert, aware, give me energy, give me a little
Adderall?
more pep in my step. Yeah, I could probably go get a prescription for that if I had to.
Yeah, there you go.
Anything to become a more productive member of society.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you got like more elementals to jerk off, so you gotta get hyped up for it.
Yeah,
so.
gotta get going, dude. It's only so much time in the day.
That's true.
Gotta collect them all, dude, like Chim Pokemons.
That's true. So what have you been up to, Chip, the last couple days, brother? I saw you on playing some Warzone a little bit there. That was pretty cool seeing.
Yeah, played a little Counter-Strike, a little Warzone. Mostly on Hearthstone. Yeah, I don't know. The boys were like hitting me up in the DMs. I was like, oh yeah, I'll go on real quick. Mostly just been working on that game, doing programming stuff.
Yep.
That's been going great. I don't know. Like I'm getting lazy. Like again, like it's all towards like the end of the technical work.
Yep, every time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm just like, fuck, do I just power through this bullshit?
Now to refresh everyone viewing here from last week, you were using LDTK to spawn entities the last time we spoke. Did you get that figured out, or did you?
Yeah, dude, it works great.
Okay.
No, like it's like that whole system works. Like I use like a dictionary lookup, which you can do now. So it runs through like a grid pixel by pixel, and it uses 16 by 16 chunks, and then it creates a dictionary and it averages out like the color references. And then I can assign like a list array of prefab hex codes, and then I can assign like a prefab to spawn at that area. And then black is nothing, so it spawns nothing there.
Sure.
So every area spawns like a tile, and then like each of those tiles has like a whatever color will spawn like an additional thing there. So,
okay. Now let me ask you this: are you going to share your methods online anywhere, even on your itch page or anything like that, to see how you did it? Because this is a very unique way of doing it, from what I've seen, by using LETK with this. I mean,
it seems like a worse way. I think like I was looking up like other things like after our last pod last week.
Yeah.
Where I was like, yeah, I think you could do stuff with like a JSON file and stuff, and like he can do a ton of stuff with like scripting right in LDTK and then like porting it over. So it's probably not the best way to do it. I think like the way you would probably want to do it if you had to like start from scratch to build something similar is like get a direct export of that JSON file and then like build a grid off of that instead of like using the image file directly.
Okay.
So I'm not doing it like the most optimal code way, but like I was thinking more like and again, this was kind of at the beginning of the discussion we had last week of like moddable and like allowing other people to create levels. So for me, I was like, how can I make like something where other people could put in like just a simple image? Like everyone kind of has access to some kind of like image editor.
Yeah.
They're not going to like learn some bullshit like scripting thing, and I can just put like a map key of different colors and be like, oh yeah, you can use this, and you can build out like stages, and then like maybe I could have like folders that it reads from like direct from a
like
directory.
A custom folder, like a lot of games.
Yeah.
Sure. Nice. Yeah, man.
I don't know. I could also like build an image editor directly in there, like
why?
And
why?
Yeah.
I
don't know. Why not?
Suppose. I mean, I was gonna say there's a lot of image editors that already do the job that are free that people can use. Yeah. No, I get it though. That's cool. I mean, as someone who's tried to build a level designer for a puzzle game, I get it.
Yeah, man. So, it's just like a fun little challenge. So again, like I don't know, like the level editor and stuff was like the stuff I was interested in, like the building like the dictionary and stuff was the meat and potatoes of it. And like I have like an auto battler system set up. It's like pretty simple, and like dude, like I set up where like you can step on the tiles and like events will trigger. Like you can take damage, you can heal up a party and stuff. But like even that shit, like I was like I put like the traps out like during the week. Like you know, I was doing like a simple like one thing a day basically. And at one point I was like working on the battle system, and like you can like add in characters on a list, and that was like triggering multiple damages to like all of the units. And I was like, fuck, I need to redo how like my units and battle manager and all this shit works. But it took me like 2 hours to realize like I didn't like remove like the units I added in the editor during test play. And I was like, fuck, I broke something somewhere in the script. So I was like rewriting shit over and over again. I was like putting in like fail safes, and it was making like a more bulletproof, like tighter script. But like this shit was still like triggering off. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh. And I was like, no, this all happened right after I added like this to the battle manager. And I was like, that's the problem. Yep.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I want to talk to you a little bit about this today, and maybe everyone out there is like, I've gotten comfortable with the game being broken, and I feel like I don't know, it's something like a skill set you gotta learn. Is like there's gonna be like days or hours that your entire game will be broken.
Yes.
like don't panic. I don't know. Like
yes,
I'm just putting that message out there. It's like
yes. No, that's very true. That if you don't mind, I'll use that to lead into my update here. So I was, as you know, I was adding network connectivity to the game I made for my kids, so they could load in and fight monsters together. For those who have just joined on this episode, I've made a like combat oriented, almost an auto runner style like game where it's 360 directional shooting with my kids as the main characters on a 2D plane, so they have like their fingers are like, you know, finger guns, and then they're shooting different kind of stuff out of it, and wherever their hand is on the screen, they'll aim towards your hand. So I have that, and I was reading up on the game maker stuff on how to get you know, into the same game. So I started off with kind of making a chat room for myself and just making sure I could actually get connected. I got on my PC and my other PC, I got the characters connected, and then the next step was to try it on the tablets, right? And that shit didn't work. And, to this moment, I have no idea why. And then, as you mentioned, that I realized that the kids' tablets are pretty locked down in terms of content. So I think I have to make permissions for like connectivity. I'll have to look into
run the
that.
app as like some kind of administrator or something.
Yeah. So I'm hoping I can do that with like the parental control still working.
Mode.
Yeah, which I mean I can enable. It's just gives the kids too much access. Where
but like for testing, I know like you can like go into a lot of like Android devices and like pop it in a code and turn on like everything, which is very dangerous. Like if you don't know what you're doing,
right. Well, it's
just opens up everything. You know,
they have Amazon Fire tabs, so Amazon their like kids platform is very memory intensive, so I have to keep that in mind with how many enemies are on screen, and it's also pretty slow, truly. So I have to just kind of, you know, mind that. I'm like, do I get rid of that completely and just give them full like control of the tablets? But then, like,
don't do it, dude.
It's they get it.
Just do it for your testing, man.
So So when they're like outside doing something, we're gonna try and like take the parental controls off and test and just make sure it works. And then I'll worry about like syncing and stuff like that. They did ask to add a boss. So once I get connectivity happening, I'll probably do a boss spawner. So the game is just infinite right now, and you know they get scores, and then just more enemies come out until they die, and then they get a high score. I'm thinking of setting it on a timer, or maybe have two methods, and I'll run it by you. So either have it on a timer, like after 5 minutes boss spawns, you beat it, you know can choose to beat the game or continue on, like you use like a loop, or specific enemies will spawn at specific intervals in the game, maybe a point side, or maybe time, maybe both, maybe a combination of both, and the enemies will be like glowing or something, and you kill like 4 of them, and then the boss comes. You know, I'm not sure what's better. Maybe I'll try both. Any ideas from that, from your perspective?
I think you make a giant clock that like starts to count down,
Okay.
It's a classic, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe like some sort of warning sign that pops up.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like
I was
womp,
gonna.
womp, womp, and like in 30 seconds, it's like do 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 do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I'll
yeah,
definitely try that. That's
big
both are
cells.
pretty easy. So
Yeah.
and you know, like I said, the kids will probably get bored of it after a couple weeks, but the novelty of having themselves in it is still pretty fresh for them. So yeah.
Did I talk about
Cool
this
stuff.
about like optimizing the game I've been working on, the tile game?
You did a bit, but go ahead.
Oh, dude! After our podcast, dude, I don't know. Like maybe
You may have told me directly though. Now that I think about it, I don't know if it's on the pod,
I don't
but
know, bullet pooling, like I don't know, like for like entities and shit. I did that for all the tiles afterwards. Like I don't know, that's what got me thinking about breaking
nice.
shit.
Oh, great, yeah.
Because I was like, man, I'm just loading and unloading like the same like 3D models and tiles here.
Yep.
I was like, shit, I was like, I should just pool these items because before I was like destroying and creating everything on every level, and I was like, that seems like,
yeah.
I don't know, like I know it's not bad because it's like such a small game and there's not that many like 3D models and it's
But
like
it
reusing.
gets you into bad habits. Right?
Yeah, and I was like, man, it's the biggest thing I got here is like probably like a 8x8 grid. Like I could just pull these in. So then I had to break everything and like change everything so they could be reusable and like the way like certain events and stuff like trigger. I had to like switch up that so that way like tiles don't stay like switched on. The way like everything got highlighted, I had to like change up. It was like a lot of cascading events just because I didn't think about like optimization from the rip. But again, like I don't know, like you gotta be okay with like breaking your game for like large periods of time. So I pulled up like all that stuff, and then like I pulled something else as well, like the prefabs, like for the auto battle system, because that was also like I had like enough awareness from the rip on that to make like a prefab of every character that like uses a scriptable object to populate like the stats and the character and like the models. But I didn't have like enough awareness to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep reusing like these like areas, so I could just like keep triggering like scripts from the start on that. Then I made like a pool of those things, and like all that stuff gets like filled in from like a script somewhere else because it's just reusing the exact same template of each of those for like the characters. So
gotcha. Yeah.
Oh man.
No, that's awesome that you're thinking about that too, because like bigger projects, having that in mind, you're gonna save yourself a bunch of headache of optimizing after the fact. Which certain PlayStation 3 development was notorious for this. If you're making cross-platform, Bayonetta being a very big example. That game ran like butthole on PlayStation 3. It got patched eventually, but it still like ran poorer than on the 360 or PC. Obviously, PC has the most resources available, but the PS3 like it's just the architecture was so weird to program for that you had to have your optimization on deck prior to it. So that's a lot of time. That's why people went with the Unreal Engine, because after a while, it just had all that shit built in and had like suggestions for you. So that's that. But optimization is huge, and I think we've spoken about it before. But having it in practice, speaking and practicing is two different things. So that's awesome.
And it's also like, for me, and I don't know how you approach like prototyping games. Like I just like get it working as fast as possible, like the MVP. And that usually doesn't have like any optimization or any like scalability or modularity to it. And so I've been like
I make it twice, basically.
I've been trying more and more to think from the ground up though of like some of that stuff, but like I don't know, is it like you're not going to use it as well, like type of thing too, where it's like so there's like cost analysis benefit that like I don't know, like you don't really know, but like I feel like after a few different prototypes and games, and like after you build out a few more like games, like you start to get a sense of where you're like, oh, this is going to be worth doing right from the jump, especially if it's something I'm going to use, or this is like modular enough that I can use it in other projects later, so it's worth putting in a little bit of extra elbow grease here. Other stuff you're like, this is like so like a bespoke thing that I'm never going to use. So I'm like, I can just do this, and like it's going to be like 100 lines of code, and it's going to be messy, but it's going to do this thing, and it's fine. Nobody else is ever going to see it. Like it only needs to do this thing. It's going to be the worksman of this whole thing. It's like a link on a chain on a bicycle, like it's not sure it's important. And if it breaks, it could be catastrophic if like you're riding a bicycle down the road, but it'll probably not happen. Like as long as everything else is greased up, like it'll be all right. But you know, you get like, but then you go to scale and you get like 1 million people pedaling on that bike. Like, you're gonna start getting those bugs. They'll become a bug report, and you're like, I know exactly what this is. Shit.
Yep, definitely. One of the things too is like make sure your coding's tight on certain points too. There's this boss thing I was experimenting with a few months ago for the stealth game where you hit a trigger on the level, an invisible trigger, and I set a boolean to have the boss enemy like turn to you and dash. I didn't with no regard to the environment. It would just dash in a straight line, and you had to dash to dodge. So what I did was the initial trigger worked, and he would turn and dash, but I did not turn it back off. So you just keep turning and dashing, turning and dashing. And I had particles that, had his dash, and I did not destroy the particles in time. But also because my Boolean didn't close either, it didn't turn off ever. Yeah. So the particles were just building on screen. So after probably 10, 15 dashes, it was just start lagging like crazy. And I'm like, maybe I scrap this. And then like a few weeks later, I looked at the code and like, boop. Yeah. Whoops. So man. That's one thing where a debugger's not going to help you because it's working as designed, but you actually going through it and seeing what each thing does works. So again,
like when we talked a little bit about that, like I had that trap where it was triggering and just kept on doing like 4 damage, and I was like, oh, it's because I added 4 units, but it's working as designed because I added them in the editor. It wasn't like, it was like, this isn't showing up anywhere in the coding or anything. I was like I said, like I was just sitting there like going through and like trying to make it bulletproof, and I was like, why is this happening? And then like it took me like, after like I kind of like took a breather, and I was like played a game of Hearthstone, and I went back to it and I was about to close out for the night, and I closed out. This always happens to me. I closed out the project, and as soon as I did, I was like, oh shit. And then, like I opened it back up and I like changed it real quick, and I was like, nice. And then I just went to bed. It's just like, I don't know, man. Like, so sometimes you gotta step away and like take a breather from it, and like I'll be okay with shit being broken or like crashing. And then I don't know, like it's a good skill set to have, is like running down like we learned this in like A+, where it's like you try and like eliminate things one after another to like recreate the problem. Like what on the chain of command could break this thing, and then like figuring it out and like soloing out that process,
And in A+, it's either the RAM or the power supply. So
every time I'm the person, try to turn it on and off again.
100%. With the time we have left, I just wanted to highlight a couple things. One, I mentioned it before the pod, but big news on the FGC front with Street Fighter 6's Year 2 Pass was announced. Our boy M. Bison's coming back. We get Hobo Bison, which I'm very, very excited for. We have Hobo Ryu, so we're going to get Hobo Bison. Really excited for. Elena from Street Fighter 3 is coming back. She came back for the last couple of iterations of Street Fighter. Definitely a fan favorite. I think she's awesome too, so I'm really happy she's back. But the biggest, most hype announcement, it's why I have my Terry Bogard, Fatal Fury Cup. It's why I have this Terry Bogard hat right here, ready to rock, my Fatal Fury hat. But, Terry motherfucking Bogard was announced for Street Fighter 6.
Hey, come on.
Also, my Shiranui is coming as well. So, I mean, ooh, me bouncy, as everyone likes to tell me. So, gotta say, super hyped for that. CVS 3 is the one game that I've been clamoring for like 15, 20 years. You know what I mean? Like however long it's been. But we got a Marvel vs. Capcom 3. We got Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Let's go back to CVS, boys, and let's get it. So I'm hoping this is like a back door. Also, we have SNK working on a new Garu. So, the zeitgeist is there, man. We can do it.
Anything could happen.
Yeah, so I'm super hyped for that. Also, I'm gonna say the Garu art style and the Street Fighter 6 art style, like just overall can mesh very well together, I feel. So very excited for that.
Yeah, you was like telling me a little bit like how much you enjoy the engine too. So you're like, this is a good platform.
Yep. Very good.
If they like somehow weirdly back-ended in where all the characters like slowly become DLC or something, where it's like, all right, this is kind of weird. And then like I could see them doing like some kind of like bullshit edition of the game. It's like, I'll get all this
Now
DLC.
Geese Howerton. Now, yeah, right. Now Rugal. No,
It might be also like, taking a temperature, seeing if the
it's
the fervor is there for, like, I don't know. They also like, Capcom's always done some shady bullshit as well, though, where it's like, oh, we're going to put out this game, but it's not the one you wanted. Yeah. Surprise. But I don't know. They seem to be.
They're my good graces right now, man.
Yeah, they've been doing solid lately. They've been doing good work. They've been making money. It's weird, like when you see like all these other big AAA developers like bleeding money, having to fire people. They're like, we're making more money than ever.
Capcom's like, this is the best year we've had ever, and Microsoft's like, we gotta just fire everyone. So exactly. Yeah, right.
Still Capcom keep doing Hi-Fi Rush, dude.
Yeah.
The day they closed that studio, they like one of the their leads was like. At Microsoft was like, we need to create more
smaller games, more rewards.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, that's just the studio you just shut down. What the fuck? Capcom's out there doing the work, dude. So I don't know. Like, there's so many IPs. I'd like to see them take a swing at something fresh, but it is what it is. Did Sega ever come out with like their games? Remember they're like doing like all those reboots?
Not yet. The last thing they released was Butthole. I can't remember what it was now, but it's
dang, dude. I feel like I called that, dude. I was like, I don't know.
But it wasn't one of the big games that they announced. It wasn't the new Golden Axe. It wasn't the new, whatever's Crazy Taxi or anything else. They had like a smaller. I don't remember, but obviously it was trash. But
you went from like really like optimistic and hype to like cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic right now. But
whereas me, I was like, I don't believe
new Shinobi, new Golden Axe, new Crazy Taxi. I'm like hype, but I'm not gonna put my heart on it. So anything
like zero. Like again, for me, it was like what is it, like the little signs were there for like when they had like that Sega collection and they would start pulling content from that and like changing it up, and I was like, I don't trust them anymore. They're doing like so much like good work, so much like fan service, and then like they started like doing like weird things with that where they're like, oh, this was all on there, now like some of it's become DLC, some of it you can't get anymore, some of it was like always on there. And like they just like, well, there was no messaging behind it, there's like they just did it. And I was like, man, if the left arm doesn't know what the right arm's doing, like that's a bad sign of things to come, in my opinion.
We don't have enough time on this, but there's been like a big disconnect between Sega of America and Sega proper for decades, honestly. Like the Genesis era had issues with it. That's why we had the 32X, the Sega CD, and like those failures. The Saturn versus anything else. Just they shouldn't have two international studios. Honestly, they should just have one, and then like a just like spokesperson for the other.
A battle royale.
Yeah. But man, I gotta say I'm looking forward to Street Fighter Year 2, and man, I'm gonna keep grinding on that game, and I'll update you once I get anything else. But yeah, anything else to add at the end here?
That's it, man. Take your time, make prototypes, have fun, keep it simple, don't blow it.
right. Keep it simple, retard. All right, we out of here. All right, for the Combo Level Podcast, I'm Mr. Gimpy. That's
Chipmunk.
And we out. See you next week.
Peace.